Mike, is there anything about Brady Oliveira that you can tell us injury-wise?
No.
So you don't know if he could play this week or not?
You know me. I'm always hopeful.
Fair. Matthew Peterson, I know you're asked about him after the game, obviously, but now that you've had some time to watch the film and whatever, maybe what impressed you the most about how he was able to handle that moment?
Yeah. I don't know. Once again, I don't think it's that you're impressed with something. I think there's there's joy around, there's happiness around watching teammates be excited for another teammate and a young guy. But I believe he would have an expectation of going in and doing very well. The coaching staff would expect him, because he's been here for a training camp and a bunch of practices, that he would go in and do well. The O-line would expect that if there's holes open, that he would run through them well. So, once again, I think there can be certain plays where everybody in the stadium's impressed, like not just from Matthew, but somebody, oh, that's impressive, right? But on a play in, play out, football game, I think guys are out there doing their job and doing it well, and he was one of those guys. So I think it's neat. I think it's fun. I think it's great to watch teammates enjoy the success of another guy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have had people step up like that, many times, obviously, but with him, it was kind of unique. We haven't seen him play in a game before, and it's his
Yeah, we have the benefit of watching him practice every day.
Yeah.
That's I guess the reason why.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in his draft year, was that a guy that you guys, I know you guys talked to him, but was that a guy that you guys really liked and just didn't end up having to take him?
There's lots of guys that we scout, that we have reports on, that are favorable, and some are really good, and you just don't get to draft them.
Right.
Yeah.
Marquise Bridges, that's another guy, he was here last year, obviously, but that was another kind of maybe newer face to some fans that, kind of really stood out in that game. What have you seen what's maybe the biggest difference between him last year and this year?
I have confidence, I'm sure, is one of the things, a more complete understanding of what JY is asking them to do, better communication skills, I'm sure, and that includes listening, right? Like communication is working both ways. So working with a guy a second year, he was here last year, and he was certainly one of the guys that JY would have said, this guy's got a real chance to be good. So, that comfort level, once again, that we talk about for every second-year guy.
This secondary, a little different this year with the Jamal Parker at the safety now as well. What did you learn about that group on Thursday night?
Yeah, once again, I think they can be pretty damn good. They seem to work well together. It looks like they have a lot of fun out there together. They communicate well in their own ways. They hold each other accountable to a pretty high standard.
Last one for me. We've seen Shane Gauthier fill in that linebacker really well for you guys when needed. We've seen him make clutch tackles on special teams, and now we've seen him, snap a football pretty darn well for 2 quarters as well. What can Shane Gauthier do on a football field?
Yeah, that's a great question. We talked about Shane, I don't know, probably beginning of the year, or maybe it was last year. But, he probably should have got more snaps much earlier in his career too, because he's been very good for us and could do a lot of different things for a long time. Just took a few years for us to use him properly.
Thanks.
Brady's listed with an upper body injury, and after practice he was tossing balls with Nick. How much do you view that as a promising sign?
Yeah, tossing footballs and delivering hits are two different things. But yeah, like I said, I'm always hopeful.
Sure. Most back-to-backs, you get to know each other real well, of course, and you try to come up with a different wrinkle maybe for the rematch. What does the fact you've got a quarterback change? What kind of wrinkle does that add to the whole back-to-back dynamic?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Buck knows who our quarterbacks are.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah. But it's, you know, you have a slightly different offense, would you say, between when one quarterback compared to the other, or quite different, or?
No.
Not at all different?
No, the plays are the plays. Our playbook's the playbook, right? Once again, I said this before, doesn't matter what league, what quarterback room, the coordinator, the quarterback coach are gonna have a good understanding of what each guy likes better than the next guy. You know, and that plays into it more than changing a playbook. It's just,
Play selection.
here's our plays that we have worked through camp, that we like, these concepts, and each guy has, you know, his own favorite that he probably sees better or delivers better on, but it's not about paring it down or changing it.
Right. How do you like back-to-backs? Do you like that challenge of facing the same team twice, or would you prefer?
Yeah,
you
it's,
prefer
once
other
again,
ways?
it's always easier on the coaching staff, because a lot of the minutiae, you know, the scouting report stuff, a lot of the stuff that they just have to get done, that just takes up a bulk of time, that's already done, basically, so you'd probably prefer the back-to-back on a short week, with a short week, just to get going.
Yeah. Eddie, you need?
Mike, thinking back to the time Justin Medlock was here and really throughout his career, and how much of a technician he was in alignment, the snap, the catch, the placement, the hold, all of that. How much does long snapping come into the, you know, overall kicking game?
Yeah, it's part of the operation, and it's a big part. It starts it all off, so the cleaner it is, the cleaner the rest of the operation is time-wise, and stress levels go down when, you know, there's a body of work that says, here's where the ball's gonna end up, here's how fast it's gonna be, here's what it's gonna look like when it gets to me. I mean, that all adds some calmness to it. Talking about Medlock, you know, I really think that, I mean, he's not the only one, maybe not the first, but he, in our league, I would say that he really pushed the idea of that operation putting in a lot more time than they used to. So I think everybody around the league is benefiting from that.
So do you think, you know, you guys are still holding on to or utilizing some of those things that Justin focused on?
No, it's just a mindset that there's work to be put in, and you can put in more than maybe what guys were doing 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah. So if a change needs to happen, does it just come down to reps with the guys?
Yeah, but they can get them, and if you're good enough to be working in that operation in the pro level, you're pretty accomplished. You can adapt pretty quickly.
Were you the one who called Ian LaRue? Or no, that's not
No.
your job? No, okay.
No.
Woke him up after midnight.
Oh, really?
It's okay, yeah, fast asleep.
I know you can't speak for Nathan Rourke, obviously, but he's 0-5 against you guys. Maybe there's a time in your career where you had a losing streak against a team or whatever. Does that weigh on a player when they've gone up against a team several times, many times, and just hasn't ever pulled it out?
You
or?
answered the question. I cannot speak on his behalf. Would never try to.
I figured, but why do you think you guys have had so much success against him and the Lions lately?
Yeah, we would never look at our record against this particular quarterback and think that we've got anything going.
Right.
Yeah, like this next week's a new challenge.